Welcome, my kin gathered here in the sanctuary, and welcome to those joining us on the live stream or watching during the week. What a treat to meet. Tuesday night I was here at the Concert for Climate, and there was a gal sitting a few pews in front of me, and she kind of looked at me with this quizzical look on her face, and after the concert she came up to me and she said, "Are you Craig? Are you the guy on the screen on Sunday mornings?" So it was so nice to meet Barb, and I know that there are others of you that are watching that are not usually here in person, but we're glad to know that you're with us in spirit. And we invite you to light a candle or find some simple way to mark this time as sacred and holy as we gather together. On the United Church calendar, we designate this as Christian Family Sunday, and of course, we know it is Mother's Day, and you always know when it's Mother's Day in the spring here because Norm Brown wears his suit and tie, and he looks so dapper. I didn't try to compete with him this year like I did last year. As we gather today, we honor and we celebrate the many ways that we are called to be in relationship with one another and with God through a web of relationships with family and with our faith communities. Some of us today will be celebrating our life together as families. Others of us may be missing a mother who's deceased or who is ill. Some may be grieving the inability to have a child or the loss of a child. And so we hold one another in our hearts and in our minds on this tender day. We give thanks for the gift of families and our family of faith and the role that they play in challenging us and supporting us and strengthening us for our life together. We know that those relationships that are most important to us require intention and thoughtfulness and practice. And so we give thanks for all of the ways that we are connected to one another. Let us remain seated as we join in our gathering music. There is room for all, number 62 in more voices, and we'll sing in English and then French and conclude with the English. Come, mothers and those who mother. Come, all who have mothers, through birth, adoption, fostering, or simply being taken under the wing of someone with a kindly, mothering soul. Come, those for whom today is hard, those for whom today brings grief for many reasons, those who need to be enfolded in the care of community. Today we celebrate through music and prayer the Holy One who loves us with a maternal love, a love beyond anything we could ask or imagine or hope for. Thanks be to God. An opening prayer for us, Community by Christine Walters-Paintner.
God of friendship, I come to know your love and care through the embodied presence of others. Weave me together with kindred spirits. Knit me more closely with friends of the soul. Cultivate in me a kinship with humanity, so that I recognize my struggles and joys in others. In my loneliness, reveal to me this communion, and may I be a solace to others who ache for connection. Transform me through conversation and loving presence. Help me to see how I am part of a great circle of pilgrims, witnesses, ancestors, and mystics who guide me to true connection with you. Gather me into your great wide heart, so I might discover I am never separate, but always held in love.
Let us join together in the singing of our song for the season of Easter. Come, children, join and sing. Number 345 in Voices United. And let's rise in body and spirit as we join in song. Come, children, join to sing. As you're seated, I invite Spirit Kids Club members to come on up. for the Spirit Kids Club time, and have a seat with me here. Let's have a seat together right here. All right, Chase, that's for you. I am still giving out these books that I've got for you, Iamidi and Rafa, The Amazing Generation. All right, today on this Christian Family Sunday and this Mother's Day, I thought that I would share with you one of my favorite books that's come out recently. It's entitled Mother God, and wonderful writer and author and a wonderful illustrator. And it's written for younger readers, but I think all of us can appreciate it. And I'm reminded of Jesus' words when he was, and his community was going through a difficult time, a time that wasn't very peaceful. And Jesus said, I wish that I could gather you all together like God gathers her children under her wings, like a mother hen. So we have some wonderful images. That's one image of God as our mother in the Bible, and there are others as well, and we'll hear some of them in this story. And I know that some of the folks sitting out there in the past have asked, and at times we've placed the illustrations up on the PowerPoint, but now that we're live streaming, it's been suggested that we not do that, just for copyright reasons. So if you want to check out the book in the library later, I invite you to come do that, because these illustrations are wonderful. You know God the Father, but God is your mother too. You are made in her image, and she is making all things new. What do you see up there? What are they making? Pottery. Do any of you like to go to the pottery place here in Brandon? Have some of you done that with Spirit Kids Club? Yeah, that's a wonderful image of God that we have from Scripture, as God is the potter. Waiting for new life to begin, God is a mother in labor. She takes deep breaths until the birth, rejoicing with friend and neighbor. Throughout day and night, God wakes to nurse the infant at her side. She snuggles her baby gently until he closes his sleepy eyes. When baby tumbles on the floor, God pulls off each tiny sock. She holds her arms out wide, and the baby learns to walk. God is Sophia, wisdom, teaching what is true and right. Wisdom works, creates, orders, and plays. She calls us with joy and delight. Are there any things that bring you joy and delight on there? In those circles? Recognize any of those? Over the waters of creation, God is the Spirit who hovers. She forms the earth into a bed, and the wide sky it covers. Reminds me of the sunset last night. Did you see it? It's beautiful. God is a mother hen who gathers Chicks under her wings, she plays hide and seek in soft grass behind trees and quiet springs. Have you ever thought about God playing hide and seek? No, I don't think so either. She protects her cubs from danger. God, the great mother bear, as fierce as she is tender, she guards them in her care. That's a passage from the Hebrew Bible that talks about God as a mother bear who protects her children. God is a lurking leopard, secretive, skilled, and strong, teaching her young to swim and climb. She roars, and they tag along. With a huge supply of flour, God kneads and bakes good bread. She feeds her entire neighborhood. They feast, and all are fed. Do any of you like to eat? Yeah, we love to eat here at Knox, don't we? That bread looks really good. God is a skillful seamstress who stitches and sews thread together. She makes clothes for rain, snow, and sun, caring for you in all kinds of weather. That reminds me of my cousin who was always getting annoyed at his mother for telling him what to wear when he went outside. And one day he said, "What are you, the weather woman?" Granny Baba, God is a woman with gray hair. She passes down stories of old, rocking softly in a chair. She is the God who sees you. God weeps, God mourns and cries. She comforts you through the longest night, keeping watch until sunrise. She quiets us with her songs, singing lullabies in the night. God, our nurturing mother, wraps us in moonlight. Did any of you see the flower moon, the flower full moon that was up a couple of weeks ago? It was so big it was like being wrapped in moonlight. God is your loving mother. You are made in her image too. God calls you beloved. She is making all things new. As you think about all the different ways that you think about God and that you experience God's love, let's celebrate God as our mother who nurtures and loves us and calls us beloved. All right. You are going to head off to Spirit Kids Club now, and I was going to tell you what Brittany was going to focus on, but I think you're going to focus on Mother God this morning too, right? And we're really excited because some of you are going to be helping us with the service 2 weeks from today on Pentecost Sunday, which is the Sunday that we celebrate the gift of God's Spirit to us and kind of what we call the birthday of the church. Maybe this year we'll have some birthday cake to help us celebrate. So I think Brittany's going to be talking to you about some of your ideas and some of the things that you might like to do on Pentecost Sunday. So head on off, and we'll see you in just a little bit. And whose hat is on the pew? Jaden's. What's the hat, Jaden? Oh, is it anime? Nice. All right, seen a little bit. Wayne is going to come up and share our gospel lesson for us today.
A reading from the Good News of Mark, chapter 3, verses 20 to 35. Jesus came home, and as usual, a crowd gathered, so many making demands on him that there wasn't even time to eat. His friends heard what was going on and went out to rescue him by force if necessary. They suspected he was believing his own press. Religion scholars from Jerusalem came down spreading rumors that he was working black magic, using devil tricks to impress them with spiritual power. Jesus confronted their slander with a story. Does it make sense to send a devil to catch a devil? To use Satan to get rid of Satan? A constantly squabbling family disintegrates. If Satan were fighting Satan, then soon there wouldn't be any Satan. Do you think it's possible in broad daylight to enter the house of an awake, able-bodied man and walk off with his possessions unless you tie him up first? Tie him up, though, and you can clean him out. Jesus went on to say, "Listen to this carefully. I'm warning you. There is nothing done or said that can't be forgiven. If you persist in your slanders, God's Holy Spirit, if you persist in your slanders against God's Holy Spirit, you're repudiating the very one who forgives, sawing off the branch on which you're sitting, severing by your own passivity all connection with the one who forgives." Jesus gave this warning because they were accusing him of being in league with evil. Just then his mother and brother showed up. Standing outside, they relayed a message that they wanted a word with Jesus. He was surrounded by the crowd when he was given the message. Your mother and brothers and sisters are outside looking for you." Jesus responded, "Who do you think are my mother and brothers?" Looking around, taking in everyone seated around him, Jesus said, "Right here, right in front of you, my mother and my brothers. Obedience is thicker than blood. The person who obeys God's will is my brother and sisters and mother." Here ends the reading.
Let's join together in singing Kindred in Spirit Through Jesus Christ, which is based on this passage in Mark number 178 in more voices. And let's rise in body and spirit as we sing. I was waiting for an oh yeah from the choir, some jazz hands. That's right. We are grateful for Ron Klusmeyer and his songwriting abilities. And grateful for our musicians that jazz it up and keep us moving. It's good to have Donna Lowe at the piano today. Jane is, Jane's off at a hockey tournament I think in Fargo, North Dakota, or down to see Brett's team. So, she hasn't given us an update. Sometimes she sends us an update, but we hope it's going well. And I'm just, it's a great day as we've kind of come through this series of concerts and the spring concert with the choir, which you'll hear more about during announcements today, and some of our musicians who played in the Concert for Climate on Tuesday night. It's a great time to kind of be in awe of our musicians these days. You know, our life together on Sunday mornings has changed significantly over the past 20 years with world music and spirituals and jazz pieces and classical and traditional hymns and singer-songwriter. And you know, it's not so easy just to move between genres. So we give thanks for all of our musicians who assist us in what we think of as blended worship. And one of the things that I really appreciate about incorporating this way of singing together and being community together is that it asks us to take some risks. And sometimes it invites us out of our comfort zone. And that's a good thing for the community of Jesus. It's not so easy to do. And so we give thanks for that. Well, we're thinking about this interesting reading from the Gospel of Mark and all of the drama that's going on and this conflict between the religious authorities and Jesus and maybe even Jesus' family and Jesus. And the crowd is asking itself as all of this going on, this interesting question: have you lost your mind? Have you ever found yourself wondering, maybe even asking out loud, if a family member or a friend has lost their mind? Maybe a friend starts dating someone that, and you just don't get it. And you're like, really? Him? Have you lost your mind? Maybe your child walks away from a secure career to backpack across the world, and you ask yourself, oh, what are they thinking? A neighbor leaves certainty behind for risk, comfort for conviction, security for something they can't quite explain. Have you lost your mind? One of your family members is cheering for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Our concerns may stem from the fact that we can't imagine making the same choice for ourselves or risking certain consequences. There are lots of situations in which we might ask the question of someone we know. Your minister shows up in a donkey costume on Holy Humor Sunday. Has he lost his mind? Well, maybe just a little bit. And he really didn't think about the fact that it was live streamed and on Channel 12. Maybe had some misgivings afterwards. Mark tells us that the crowds around Jesus had become so intense that he and his disciples and the crowds could not even stop to eat. When his family hears what's happening, they come out to restrain him, with others around the crowd saying, he has gone out of his mind. It's one of the more human moments in the Gospels, I think. Mary and Jesus' brothers are worried. The religious authorities are suspicious. They've traveled to Galilee all the way from Jerusalem. The crowds are growing. Jesus is healing people, forgiving people, feeding people. And what's really causing problems is that Jesus is challenging systems, crossing boundaries, and stirring up eddies of hope in dangerous places. From the outside, it may look reckless to a people living under a cruel occupation. And honestly, can we really blame his family for worrying? The Romans didn't tolerate troublemakers. Religious authorities didn't welcome the possibility of Roman repression. People who spoke too boldly about justice and liberation often ended up imprisoned or dead. Possibly, Jesus' family was embarrassed. What's more likely, I think, is that they were simply afraid for him. They loved Jesus enough to try and protect him. I imagine that Jesus grew up like any other child in Nazareth. His brothers probably rolled their eyes at him sometimes. Mary probably worried when he stayed out too late. Nobody in the family likely expected that one day he would be standing in crowded places proclaiming good news to the poor, while authorities whispered that he was dangerous. So when they arrive to pull him aside, they cannot even get through the crowd. They send word inside. And then Jesus responds with these startling words that we sang a moment ago. Who are my mother and my brothers? At first glance, it sounds pretty harsh, especially for beloved Mother Mary. It's almost dismissive, but I do not hear rejection in those words. I hear expansion. Jesus is not abandoning his family, he is widening the circle. He is saying that those who commit themselves to compassion and justice and forgiveness and healing and courage and hope become a kind of kin to one another. The family of God is built not merely by bloodlines or by biology, but by shared love and shared struggle. And many of us know exactly what Jesus means. Some of the deepest kinship we have ever known has emerged maybe not around a dinner table, but around a sharing circle, a justice campaign, a refugee response program, an online affinity group, a green initiative in action, places where we dared to believe another world was possible. And that kind of community can look a little bit strange from the outside. And the community of Jesus has always been a little bit odd. While the culture tells us to look after ourselves so much of the time, we gather and practice generosity. While the world tells us some people are disposable, we insist that every person bears sacred worth. While cynicism tells us that nothing can change, we look out and see possibilities for hope. We sing about justice rolling down like waters. And yes, on a beautiful weekend day, on Mother's Day morning, when plenty of people are out golfing or preparing their gardens or flower beds, maybe they're having mimosas or Bloody Marys on the patio, here we are sitting in these pews, singing spiritual songs and talking about love strong enough to heal the world. To some people, it's a bit odd. It may even seem a little crazy. Like the man who cajoled me online on our Knox Facebook page recently, telling our folks, well, your minister really needs to start doing his job. I suspect he thinks I'm just a little bit crazy. Yet, that is part of discipleship. Faithfulness has always involved a kind of holy maladjustment. The civil rights leader, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., understood this. King refused to adjust himself to segregation, to racism, to poverty, to militarism and violence. He said there were some things in society to which people of conscience should remain maladjusted. And expanded his focus beyond just civil rights. Even some of his friends criticized him for losing his focus and speaking out and not staying in his lane, as we might say today. King responded saying something extraordinary. It may well be that the salvation of the world lies in the hands of the maladjusted. The maladjusted. People unwilling to accept prejudice, hatred, and bias as normal. By the way, the Outreach Committee is hoping that all of you will come out on Tuesday evening, this Tuesday evening at 7, for our panel discussion, Busting the Myths regarding immigrants and refugees and newcomers in our community. We'll have a panel of community leaders and community members speaking to this important topic. The maladjusted, people willing to not accept injustice as inevitable, people unwilling to believe that violence is stronger than love. King said he would be just as maladjusted as Jesus of Nazareth, who dared to say, "Love your enemies and bless those who curse you." Now, that kind of love has always seemed irrational and impractical and unrealistic. And yet, it is the very thing that changes the world. You know, the gospel was never meant to help us fit comfortably into business as usual. It was never meant to baptize the status quo or make peace with systems that wound people and the earth alike. The way of Jesus calls us into another reality altogether, what Jesus called the commonwealth of God, where mercy matters more than power, where neighbors matter more than profit, and where no one is left outside the circle of belonging. And so, perhaps the question for us today is not whether Jesus had lost his marbles. Perhaps the question is whether we're willing to be just as maladjusted enough to follow this Jewish rabbi, willing to love when hatred and prejudice would be easier, willing to hope when despair feels more accurate, willing to welcome when fear tells us to close the door, willing to keep working for change and justice even when progress feels painfully slow. Because every generation needs people who are just crazy enough to believe that compassion is stronger than cruelty, that reconciliation is possible, and that another world can still be born in us and through us. And maybe that's who we are becoming together, a strange little family gathered around the table of Jesus, a community of holy misfits, a very different Christian community here in southwest Manitoba. People learning, however imperfectly, to live as though love is the deepest truth of the universe. To the world, and even to some of our family members, it may not always make sense. But then again, neither did Jesus. Thanks be to God. Amen.
On Mother's Day, we give thanks for mothers and for all those who carry a mother's love, those who nurture, protect, and keep going through great responsibility, often while carrying more than they can easily name. In January 2025, in the eastern Carpathian Mountains of Ukraine, a retreat in Tuklia offered mothers and children a chance to step away from the pressures of daily survival and receive care. Through ACT Alliance, ACT member Hungarian Interchurch Aid welcomed families who had been displaced by war or were living near the front lines into a space of rest and support. Many of the mothers arrived exhausted, carrying grief, uncertainty, and the constant demands of caring for their children in very difficult situations. At the retreat, they were offered psychological support, time in nature, and creative activities, while their children were cared for through play and art. For many, This was the first time they had been able to focus on their own well-being. One mother shared that she had spent so long focused on her children's needs that she had forgotten her own. In this space, she was able to rest, reflect, and she began to regain strength for the journey ahead. Through mission and service, initiatives like this become possible. Our gifts help create spaces where caregivers can receive care, where resilience can be renewed, and where hope can be strengthened even during ongoing hardship. On this Mother's Day, we remember the strength of mothers everywhere and the importance of supporting that strength in return. Our gifts to mission and service help make this care possible. Please make your gift today.
Thanks, Lydia. And thanks to all of you who continue to support our Mission and Service Fund in the United Church of Canada. I think recent financial reports suggest that we're on track to have another good year together, so we give thanks for that. What prayers would you like to name today for us as we move to a time of the prayers of the people? Any prayers to share today? Lori, let me come back so I can hear you as you're sitting back with Mom and Dad today. Yeah, Lori.
Just a prayer for a roommate who's moving at the end of the month or before the end of the month.
Prayers for a roommate who's moving at the end of the month. Transitions are never easy. Joe.
A friend, Ruth, whose mom's I'm in the hospital. She's flown to be with her. Just prayers for her. She's caring for a ill and ailing mother.
Prayers for Ruth and for her mother who is ailing, and for Ruth who has traveled to come be with her. Betty.
Prayers for Eleanor Thompson and the spouse of Reverend John Thompson, who did amazing ministry in Oxford House and in Poplar Point High Bluff, Murray, for a year.
Yeah.
He's a powerful, powerful, quiet man.
Yeah, prayers for Eleanor Thompson, whose husband John died just over a week ago, I think. John was minister at Oxford House, I think, for 50 years. Just a wonderful, wonderful, quiet, healing, humble presence. And many of us are going to miss him dearly. Thanks, Betty. Beth. Yeah, I was going to mention Merle and the death of her friend Tom, who's been a longtime family friend and companion for the last 6 or 7 years after Daryl's passing, and his sudden death, which was a real shock this week for Merle. So prayers for her and prayers for all of Tom's family. Patty. Yeah, so we said goodbye to Patty's Aunt Tina, 93, almost 94, and we had her funeral yesterday. One of 5 sisters, 2 brothers already deceased. So prayers for her remaining sisters. Ida.
I'd like a prayer said for my oldest sister who passed away this week, and her funeral will be on Wednesday.
Thanks, Ida. Yeah, prayers for your family and for that of your sister. Yeah, prayers for all. Maxine.
Prayers for my niece and her husband. Her husband's facing treatment for lung cancer.
Prayers for a niece and a husband who's receiving treatment for lung cancer. Let's continue our prayers, and we'll conclude with a paraphrase of the prayer of Jesus. God and community, holy in one. Our tradition blesses us with stories of those who have sought to live in life-giving relationships. As we remember our siblings in faith, we're reminded of your guidance and your presence and your love with us. Holy Mother of Miriam and Moses, God of Mary and Martha and Lazarus, of siblings who cared for one another, offered support and challenge, celebrated together, worked together, argued together, and grieved together. We are thankful for their witness. As they have done, may we also seek to live in life-giving relationships with those we would name as siblings. Holy Mother of Eli and Hannah and Samuel, cross-generational colleagues, mentors, and trusted leaders in faith, remind us of the opportunities that we have to nurture and care, to mentor and discern with one another in this faith community. May we embrace the trust that is offered and shared with respect, care, and humility. Holy Mother of Ruth and Naomi, who embraced one another despite ethnic and cultural traditions and chose to be family for one another. For all who choose to be family, may your love and hope be sustained day by day. Holy Mother of Lydia and Priscilla, Peter and Andrew and Mary of Magdala and Joanna, who left the familiar to build a new community with Jesus and his friends. Though faithful, they too had moments of doubt, of fear, of denial. In our moments of doubt and fear and denial, may we remember to trust and to take one step at a time. Holy Mother of Hagar and Abraham and Ishmael, of Sarah and Isaac, of the complicated, the jealous, the broken, remind us that this too is real and that you walk with us through such troubling times. Holy Mother of us all, called to relationships that stretch beyond blood to care for one another, you invite us to reach out in welcome, in support, in care for one another. May we live in relationships that seek justice and compassion, and may we ground ourselves in your love for us. We do so as we raise our prayers to you in this time of silent prayer, those named and those that go unnamed. Holy Mother, we continue in prayer together, sharing in a paraphrase of the prayer Jesus taught the disciples, praying, Eternal Spirit, Earth Maker, Pain Bearer, Life Giver, Source of all that is and that shall be, Father and Mother of us all, loving God in whom is heaven. The hallowing of your name echo through the universe. The way of your justice be followed by people of the world. Your heavenly will be done by all created beings. Your commonwealth of peace and freedom sustain our hope and come on earth. With the bread we need for today, feed us. In the hurts we absorb from one another, forgive us. In times of temptation and test, strengthen us. From trials too great to endure, spare us. from the grip of all that is evil. Free us. For you reign in the glory of the power that is love, now and forever. Amen. Now let us join in our song for the journey, the servant song, number 595, in Voices United. My kin, the Holy One names each one of us as beloved, kin to one another. As we go from this place, may we know a love supreme that found expression in the most vulnerable human form. May the love of God guide us, sustain us, and empower us to love. Amen. You may be seated. Just a few announcements today for you. If you need to go, we understand. If you need to catch a ride. Bernie's got an announcement, but before we do that, I thought we'd do it during prayer time, and then I forgot, but we want to celebrate the good work of Sustainable Brandon and the Green Team as they raised, I think, over $3,000. Is that right? Somewhere in there. Debbie? You did well. I know you had over $1,000 in pie sales and lots of ticket sales. It was just a wonderful night to be together, and we're so grateful for the work of Sustainable Brandon in our community. That was the first annual Climate for Concert, and I suspect after the wonderful turnout and the music that was made, that there'll be more to come in the future. So thanks to all who worked on that.
Yeah, big thank you to you all. Your great support. Appreciate it.
I mentioned the immigration panel on Tuesday night. How many of you can be here, do you think? Oh, good. Folks from Brandon University, a master's student sharing her research, Enver Naito from Westman Immigrant Services, another member of our community who is applying for refugee status as a queer woman. There'll be lots of good information. bring a neighbor, bring a friend. You know, I'm so appreciative of Janet Braun. And Janet, as a newcomer to our congregation, just maybe the last 3 years, Janet and Jennifer, and they're always reaching out to folks and saying, boy, we've got something special going on here at Knox. Maybe you should come and join us. And we think of so many folks that have come to join us that we've gotten to know over the past few years. And I'm thinking of Dawn, who was part of your reaffirmation of wedding vows and who hadn't been in a united church for decades and decades and came and said, oh, I think I need to go find an affirming ministry near me. And that's exactly what Dawn and her wife did. So let's remember that there are folks out there who are looking for community and who would benefit from being together, whether it's on a Sunday morning or at a climate concert or at an immigration panel, whatever it is, make sure and reach out. I have to tell you, I had 2 just heartbreaking encounters this week. A young man, probably in his 30s, had gotten through school and clearly is just having a schizophrenic episode and just is not finding his way out of that and is looking for some kind of comfort and support and hope. And he came and found us. A young woman who I met on the street on Thursday night at Bear Clan who is unhoused and so vulnerable. And we talked a little. I asked her about her week. She was having some significant trouble. Couldn't be in safe and warm because she was in conflict with some of the people there. And as we kind of wrapped up our conversation, she said, oh, it's okay, Craig. I've been abused all my life. I don't know anything else. So I'm just thinking about all the broken hearts out there, all the folks who are yearning for even just a little bit of love and compassion. And we're so grateful for all the ways that you do that. I know you share that with the community. Bernie, I think, wants to, on a cheerful note, make an announcement about the earnings of our choir at the spring concert at the end of April.
Thanks, Craig. I know that quite a few of you have been anxious to know what kind of money we raised. You know, if you think back, April and May, you folks have really supported this congregation extremely well. The garage sale, the choir, the Quentin and Madeline's sustainable brand, and so kudos to you for all the money. I'm just hoping you have a little bit left to come to the green spot. Anyway, finally the count is in for the choir concert. So $3,859 came in both at the door and by e-transfer following that, so that's great. However, if you were paying attention at the concert, those of you that were there, the choir sang about 7 pieces. And each of those pieces, the music costs about $100. So that amount has also been donated to the church. So if I add up what came through the door and that amount that was donated for the music, that comes to $4,567. And keeping that number in mind, you know that the garage sale raised just a little over $4,000. So given that information, the choir has a message that we would like to give to Norman Cease and their committee. So if we'd like to stand up, choir. Here we go. We are the champions, my friend, and we'll keep on singing till the end. We are the champions, we are the champions. No time for garage sales, 'cause we are the champions of the world. Anyway, if you put all of that together, I mean, there's been well over $8,000 that have come to this, to Knox funds to do all the great things that Knox does. So thank you.
And we know who made all the choir stuff happen. There's so many people involved in the choir music, but we know the brains behind it all. Bernie?
No time for garage sales? Have you lost your mind? Hey, my friends, go in peace to love and serve.